Hello, everyone. We have made it to the very last part of our human rights unit. And for this, up until this point, it has been basically learning what human rights are, as well as what are various human rights violations going on across the globe today. And it's can be pretty depressing stuff. Um, Even though there are countless human rights violations going on across the globe, there are definitely people making a positive difference, and that is what this last project will highlight. Um, One of the terms for those making a positive difference in the world is an upstander. I have not used that term yet in our unit, but for you to know, an, up, an upstander is a person who is willing to make a positive difference in our world by helping others. Now, that doesn't need to be major steps. It doesn't need to be like we saw in Russia, going protesting against anti-democratic policies. This could be small things to help one another, even in our own community, and that's actually a chance that you can do for this project. You can highlight the work of a person or group in Naperville, Bolingbrook, or the Chicagoland area, if you don't want to do one of the people that I mentioned. So for this assignment, you have to find a person or a group that is helping other people. Now, one of the caveats here is you can't do people that are helping animals or our environment. Now, their work is important, definitely. We will highlight their work in our last unit. So this, I want to keep it to human beings helping other human beings. Uh, for your assignment, you need to include four different things. You need to explain who that person or group is. You need to describe who they helped and why that person or group of people needed help. You need to describe how they helped that group um, or individual. And then finally, you need to detail lessons we can take away from their work. So, how can we use some of the things that they did to um, bring it to our own community? So, steps that you can do, small steps to help others in our either our Lincoln community or Naperville Bolingbrook community. Now, when you do this work and gather this information, you can present it in any manner you want. Now, you can use Google Slides. However, I would prefer that you go beyond a straight Google slideshow. Um, you might want to explore my Google site. So, this Google site is a site that I created for other teachers at Lincoln. And basically, the page that you're going to really be interested in is templates. So I've shared these templates as part of your choice projects throughout the time or throughout the year. So you might want to pick one of these templates here, and I'm scrolling through to use to highlight your work, okay? Or highlight the work of the individual or group in your project. So these are all the templates, and I keep adding to them all the time. So maybe even by the time you get to the creation phase, there might be a new one on there. Um, if you don't want to use a Google Slide template, you can use any other tech tool. You can use Adobe Spark, which you guys created many great projects with your human rights violation project. You can use WeVideo. You can use Screencastify plus slides. I prefer if you're going to screencast, have have slides to accompany it as opposed to you sitting in front of your camera just talking at us. Um, Now, for this slight difference between your human rights project and this, you can work with one other partner or on your own. So I don't believe there's enough work for three people, so you can't really justify that. So you can work with just yourself or with one other person. Um, Everyone needs to complete and turn in the assignment. So if you choose to work with partner, both you and your partner are going to turn this in on both my Canvas assignments and my Seesaw. Just like with your human rights violation project, we will look at what you created on Seesaw on the day it's due. Where you could look for different ideas. The one that I would start with is the Newsella Kids in Teen section. If you click on the link, it should take you to that part of Newsella. Um, with it, these are all news stories of kids making a positive difference in our society. So it's taking a sec to load here. Um, This one just obviously recently added. This is a 14-year-old in Chicago who is helping get people signed up for COVID-19 vaccinations. So you can go through here. Now, just remember, a lot of these have to do with recycling or helping animals. For that, I want you to wait. You can do that, but later in the year. So make sure it's helping other human beings. So they have great examples of people making a positive change in our world in this section. If the Newsella teens, kids and teens section doesn't work for you, Time Magazine started highlighting kids that are making a difference. It's their Kids of the Year, and I have that hyperlinked here. In addition, Time always has their most influential people list. This is the 2020 list. CNN has a similar instance, and they have their annual heroes list. And again, this is um, everyday people making positive changes in our world. Um, and then last but not least, and this is what I mean, if you can go this way, I would absolutely love it. If you're aware of a individual or group making a positive change in our community, in Naperville, in Bolingbrook, in the Chicagoland area, you can forgo the research and dig into and present on the person that is doing this positive work in our community. So if you have a parent or an aunt, uncle, neighbor, or you yourself volunteer for a particular group or organization helping others, do that. Like that's what I would really love to bring awareness of. Uh, the fact that this stuff is going on right in our community, and these are our unsung heroes. And maybe you might hear of a group or individual that you can help or be of assistance to in our community. So that would be amazing. So if you're aware of those people, that's what I would choose. That's what I would love to see. However, if you're like, all right, I'm not aware. Um, I've given you some options to start with. If you want to use somebody that is not on any of these lists, as long as it's from a credible source, be my guest too. Um, your project does need a works cited page. Now, obviously, if you're highlighting the work of a person in the community that has not received any press recognition, you don't need to have a works cited because you're going off of your personal interview with that person and research that you did probably by talking to that person and finding out more. You might want to use the web if they do have a website for their work. You might want to use that, and then you could include a works cited. This is due next Tuesday, March 23rd by 8 o'clock in the morning. Like I said, everyone needs to turn it in on my Canvas assignments page and my Seesaw page with the shareable link. This is the proficiency scale. It is a standard. Um, the difference here, so for the secure, like I said, it has all of the 4 required components. I'm not going to read to you them again. They're the same as what is above. For the exemplary, you need to do all of that work, and then you need to compare and contrast the work of another group or individual making a positive change. And with that, you do not need to go into the same amount of depth in questions A, B, C, and D. What I would be more interested to see, obviously, you need to overview who the person is, who the group in need was, what steps they did to make positive change. But what I really want to know is what similar techniques did they use, or what different techniques did they use to make that positive change? So compare and contrast the action steps that they did, um, and any key takeaways that may be different between the two. All right. And finally, this is an optional graphic organizer. This graphic organizer again, is not a presentation tool. So when you turn this in, you should not be turning in the graphic organizer. But this is a spot for you to A, take any notes that you need, and B, to make sure that you have each of the required components. So there is the 4 spots here, who's the person or group, who they helped and why they needed help, describe how they helped that group, detailed lessons we can take away from their work, how we can use similar ways in our own community. And then down here, the break in the organizer for the optional part, the compare and contrast to another group or individual that is also an upstander. So this is your last project for this unit. It's your last standard before we go on spring break. It is due next Tuesday, and if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Thank you.